welcome to NFL Total Access. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz. We are honored to be joined by the Manning brothers today. We are thrilled to have Cynthia Freeland, three-time champ Willie McGinest, and Hall of Famer Terrell Davis on deck as well. But first, we are forced to imagine an NFL season in which the reigning MVP doesn't play. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur says it isn't so.
Yeah, I've got nothing to update, Rob, on that situation, and you guys all know how we feel about it.
Do you expect him to be here? It is mandatory.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see come Tuesday.
Matt LaFleur being very vague there. Our Packers experts, Stacey Dales and Tom Pelissero, joining us now. Stacey, Matt LaFleur said he doesn't know if Rodgers will show up to mandatory minicamp next week. How is he handling this situation with his MVP quarterback upset with the front office?
Well, really tough predicament. Hello, Tom. Hello, MJ, for the head coach, Matt LaFleur. I think he's handled it very eloquently so far, the best he has been able to, given the circumstances. And he can't really have an expectation. It's out of his control. So what is he left with? He's left with a quarterback named Jordan Love, who got very few reps as the third-string guy last season in his rookie campaign. Now, that being said, this is an incredibly intense learning process for Jordan Love right now. Reps, reps, reps. Every single rep is essential for this quarterback. And in fact, they're asking him to do stuff, you guys, that he may have only been asked to do once or twice last year in the preseason that we had, which wasn't really a preseason. So big picture, what do they want from Jordan Love at this stage? Well, Matt LaFleur, who we heard from earlier today, he said basically we need to get this guy to where he's at a point where he's not necessarily thinking about the footwork and the timing. He's playing automatic football, making those reads, and really reading each play as its own entity, not predetermining anything. And I'll say it over and over again, as Matt LaFleur said it. Read with the feet, go through the progression, and make a completion. Read with the feet, go through the progression, and make a completion. It may sound simple, but it's a lot for Jordan Love to process right now. Here's the good news. David Bakhtiari, the second best graded Pro Football Focus, left tackle or tackle last season, was back on the field working out after that ACL that we all unfortunately saw last December. Good news for the Packers to see him going. And Matt LaFleur, MJ, said maybe he's a little ahead of progress. They might have to pull him back a little bit, understanding who he is as a worker.
Definitely good news on that front for whomever is under center come September. Tom, though, another interesting note in Green Bay, they re-signed Robert Tonyan. How could that impact Rodgers' situation with the team?
Well, MJ, it doesn't impact the Aaron Rodgers situation at all, but the way that the Packers structured this one-year deal that Tonyan signed about a week ago is notable because it's another indication that the Packers continue to proceed as if Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback in 2021. Rather than paying Tonyan about $3.4 million on the restricted free agent tender, they actually restructured it, gave him a signing bonus, counted a lot of that money as a bonus, tacked on 4 avoidable years, all of which frees up about $1.9 million in cap space this year. Now, Green Bay has been up against the salary cap throughout the course of the offseason, but trading away Aaron Rodgers would instantly clear up over $16 million in cap space. In other words, the fact that they are nickel and diming this right now, they also restructured Dean Lowry's contract recently, freeing up a couple million more, sends a signal to other teams that the Packers, regardless of what's going on outside the building, continue to plan and budget as if Aaron Rodgers will be a Packer this season, MJ.
All right, we're just reading between the budget lines at this point. All right, Stacey and Tom, thank you both. And here's a little something to think about. Aaron Rodgers is one of 5 quarterbacks to win 3 or more MVPs with a single franchise. None of the previous 4 to do that finished their careers with the same franchise. So the numbers don't lie, my friends. We have Cynthia Freeland, Terrell Davis, Willie McGinest back here. It's very important that Green Bay has number 12 under center come fall. They are holding firm that they are not trading him. If that stays that way, should Aaron Rodgers sit out or play this season, Willie?
Well, MJ, I'll say it like this. The one thing I know about Aaron is he doesn't want to quit or let his teammates down. Now, there's a lot of other obstacles, as we just heard from the good reporting from Stacey D and Tom about what's going on as far as the numbers and all those different things. That's telling me that they're not trying to move him in a trade as well. Something has to move. I don't care how many reps they get Jordan Love in the offseason, mini camp, during camp. It's nothing like live reps. It's nothing like anything that Aaron Rodgers has been able to do within the system with these receivers and his chemistry. It's not going to even be close. They understand that, they know that, especially the coaching staff. Now, if the personnel department is going to stand fast and says, we're not moving, we're not budging, we're going to call Aaron's bluff, you're going to be in for a big surprise. This team won't look the same. You won't win football games. You won't have chemistry in the locker room. Those players who ride for Aaron Rodgers is going to stand up, and it's going to be a distraction the entire season. Aaron Rodgers still has the leverage here, okay? I don't think he's going to sit out. I think he will play, but there has to be some type of big boy conversation happening or extreme changes that go on within the dynamic upstairs, downstairs with the coaching department to appease Aaron Rodgers, which I believe and think that he deserves. But if you think you're just going to insert Jordan Love and the ship and the train is going to continue to move, has it the way it moved last year, and them getting one game outside playing in the Super Bowl, it's not even close. And I know they understand that and they know that. So I expect Aaron Rodgers to play, and I also expect things to change.
Well, Willie, here's what I don't know. I mean, we don't really know exactly what is bothering Aaron Rodgers. He came out on Kenny Mayne's final show and made some comments about people. This business is about people. So what that tells me is that that's not going to change, right? They're not firing anybody. The people that it sounds like that was meant for, they're not leaving the building. So Aaron seems like he's got a guy of principle, that he's willing to have to ride this thing out, try to force a trade, or not come into training camp or return, period. So to me, I'm gonna believe Aaron when he says it. When he's like, hey man, this is about, people, and I have not, he sort of, you can kind of read between the lines of what he was saying. He didn't say any names, but it was kind of clear he was talking to the general manager and maybe the president there. So if they're not going anywhere, Willie, I'm not sure if Aaron shows up, because if he goes back and shows up, and I get it, the teammates, he doesn't want to disappoint them. But man, I think he's a guy that stands high on principle, and I think he'll stand his ground and not return and try to force a trade out of Green Bay.
Okay, so two things that I've been looking into, because we've been really talking about this topic a lot, so I had to dig a little deeper to find something interesting. And what I found is that Aaron Rodgers is actually maybe the second best quarterback of all time pre-snap in terms of eliminating confusion for his other teammates. This also means that that's one of those things where if he goes to another team or maybe gets a season older, then maybe that will actually help him have more longevity in this league. The other thing is pre-snap motion, another thing that protects him from getting hit. Those are two things where he is really good at. So that means that if he did sit out or want to try to sit out or use that as a leverage point, it actually is a strong argument, because next season they could restructure, trade him, and even if he did sit out, he's actually kind of protecting himself, because he's probably not going to be the MVP again. People don't typically go back-to-back MVPs. So he kind of has like the height of his leverage right now and a whole bunch of attributes that don't diminish with age. So if he did sit out, I'm just presenting the other side of it, then it could be kind of a strong point to be like, well, I guess, it kind of stinks to be the Packers if Aaron's going to just go somewhere else later.
TD, you made an interesting point about people, right? So let's just say this. If it's for the betterment of the team, if it's for the betterment of the organization and everybody else, wouldn't people step aside and let other people interject or come in between and try to figure this out and solve this? Aaron is a competitor on every single level. And the reason why he had the year he had last year is because of what was being said prior to the season about him losing it, not being the same, it's over for him, and all he came out and did without any receivers being drafted and all that was be the MVP. Now we're talking about we can move on with Jordan Love and Blake Bortles, the guy who we brought in, and this team will look the same without Aaron. Do you think he's taking that personal, or he's wearing that on his sleeve, or will the organization wise up and be like, you know what, we got to make changes? And that's the changes I was talking about, which you alluded to, people.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see.
We've been digging into these layers, for what, a month now? Leave it to Cynthia to bring up a metric. Second best all-time pre-snap in eliminating confusion for his teammates. Cynthia. Yes, girl.
That's deep.
Incredible. I love that. All right, guys, thanks. As we shift to a player who said, hey, he does want to be on the move. Julio Jones' future still remains the hot topic of Falcons OTAs. Today, head coach Arthur Smith was asked if he expects Julio to be at mandatory minicamp next week. His answer, we'll see what happens next week. All right. Lots of clarity there. Let's bring in Tom Pelissero for more on this. Tom, we're past the June 1st marker where the Falcons will take less of a cap hit to move Julio. What are you hearing about where things stand?
Well, MJ, the window is now open for the Falcons to feasibly execute a Julio Jones trade, but teams that have spoken to Atlanta get the sense that they're really in no rush here. The Falcons want a high draft pick for Julio Jones, preferably a first-round pick. To this point, they do not have an offer that they like. There are some moving parts and challenges here, including who pays what portion of Julio Jones' $15.3 million guaranteed base salary. And you have, so while a lot of teams have checked in, it remains to be seen who is going to step forward with the type of offer that would make the Falcons actually pull a trigger on a deal. Now, in terms of who has remained engaged, the Titans certainly have shown interest, but they've got some of the same questions that other teams have when you're talking about a 32-year-old wide receiver who's got a lot of mileage on his body. He doesn't practice a whole lot, and he's going to have a certain expectations about how many times the ball is going to be thrown his way, which for a team like Tennessee, MJ, of course, you have to take into account. That's an offense that revolves around Derrick Henry.
All right, Tom Pelissero, who we know will be all over the story as it continues to develop. All right, everyone. Cynthia, a lot of teams could use a stud receiver like Julio Jones, but in your mind, which team needs to make this trade?
Need is a strong word, but I think that a team could really benefit. You know, the Patriots would really benefit from having that deep threat, creating more space. They went and got a bunch of tight ends in this preseason and this offseason. And what they're doing here is creating an opportunity to create a diversity of passes. When I look back over the past 6 seasons, no receiver, when they weren't the subject of a target, was more helpful to his team, meaning drawing the best coverage, drawing multiple defenders in coverage, and creating space for other people. So maybe, and I know I do a lot of fantasy football stuff, but this isn't a fantasy stat. This is like the like you're creating for others, you're selfless. He's so much of a big impact that the other teammates just get a better opportunity to catch the ball because he's on the field.
Hey, how about this team that went 11-5 last year and the quarterback retired, Phillip Rivers? How about the Indianapolis Colts getting my man Julio Jones? I mean, to me, you got a quarterback in Carson Wentz that you must supply a lot of pieces around him to make sure that his confidence is there. They've got one of the best run games in the game with Taylor and now Hines, and you got Max, so they got a real good backfield. You know, you got T.Y. Hilton is coming back. He's probably their leading receiver right there. So I think the Colts are a team that's knocking, right? They're a team that's competing in the AFC, and they're just on the cusp of being a team that we're saying is a legitimate contender for a Super Bowl. So Julio there, man, I think that's a great addition for them.
I agree, TD. I think Indianapolis, you got T.Y. on the one-year deal. He'll be great there. How about Washington? Because Julio said he wants to win, so there's need and win, right? How about Washington that can use a big play receiver to help catapult their offense to the next level? We talked about the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. I know they went out and made some moves, but you don't have a guy like Julio Jones on your roster. Cynthia, the Pats, of course, we both know that Bill Belichick loves a big, strong receiver that will block, that will do everything, that will make big plays, and he doesn't mind giving him a couple days off in camp because he knows what he brings to the table during the football season. And I'm going to add this one, 49ers, okay? Look at what they have. They have 2 young receivers, Ayuk, and they also have another kid that they just have brought in, Deebo Samuel, who was injured last year. So you got 2 young receivers, Deebo Samuel and Ayuk, and you add Julio to a system that he obviously knows because he played for Shanahan in Atlanta, and he made some huge plays. He'll know the route combinations, the systems. He won't even need a playbook. And you match him with Kittle in the running game and that mind of Kyle Shanahan or what they can do, I think the 49ers is also a perfect fit for Julio Jones.
So, in other words, Julio fits in anybody's offense. I mean, we can go to the other 31 squads. Julio will make a way to make a difference. So he is that kind of a player. So
right.
we just named a few teams, but I think he fits in every team.
Also spoke about what his new QB brings to a rather young group of receivers.
Watching Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know, here's a guy that comes in and he's learning another new offense. He's already got it. He's a veteran guy, very bright, very smart football player, and you see him helping the young wide receivers. like today, Diami was running a route, and he had gone up to Diami and explained to him, hey, look, think about this. You see this, tempo it down over here, and I'll throw you open. So that's great. I mean, that really is, and it's exciting when you see that happening with the veteran players and the young players.
And guys, that Washington defense pretty much led the way to the division title last season. Will they be able to rely on defense to carry them to another NFC East title, Cynthia?
I say yes. Why? Because it's really about complementary football, and they got enough better on offense this offseason to complement that great defense and carry them to actually win the division again. I know that it hasn't happened since 2000 or something crazy like that, back-to-back winners in the NFC East. But when you have a guy like Antonio Gibson, who kind of came out of nowhere, we weren't expecting him to be so great, and of course Terry McLaurin, you have the ability to get those first downs on offense. And by running the ball and then having a good defensive front and being able to stop the pass, that's one of the best formulas for predicting for success, especially early. So when I look to see in this division, when you've got a guy like Chase Young going into his second season, it's going to be really hard to pass on this defense. And then when they can run, they can control the clock. That's a really good formula for success.
Yeah, and it's been 16 seasons, like you alluded to, since a team in the NFC East repeated. And I give all the props to the defense. The defense played their butts off last year, even in the second half of the season, only giving up 18.5 points, but it still wasn't enough, to carry them deep into the playoffs. In this league, I don't care how great a defense is, you got to be able to generate points and put points on the board. And I think they did make changes offensively. And bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick, I get it. But everybody knows what he is, and his skill set is limited. So I don't look for him to take them over the hump and make them have a huge jump in what we saw last year. Gibson being healthy, that helps. McLaurin, that helps, and Brown and all those guys. But I just think the teams in that division got better offensively and will generate more points, which will put more pressure on their defense.
Excuse me, what was the Washington football team's record last year, by the way? I'm just curious. 7-9.
W.
7-9.
Right.
So you're talking about they didn't win 10, 11 games last year. The bar is 7-9. To me, I'm looking at the only team in that division, maybe two teams that have the potential to win more than 10 games. That's the Cowboys and that's the Giants. Right. So, and to Willie's point, it is so stressful for a team to rely on defense only and play this kind of control ball and kind of keep you under 18 points and try to win games that way. Yeah, you can win games. You can win 7 games, and that's where they're going to end up this year, at 7 games, 7 or 8 games. They're not winning the division with 7 wins this year. It's just not going to happen.
How many wins did the Steelers have last season? Just a question.
A lot more than that.
Oh, I think it's 11. Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, but they also had, that was a little different makeup there. They had a quarterback that's pretty good, too, if I recall. By Ben, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, TD says, not so lucky number 7 there. Listen, this to me is still one of the most interesting divisions as we head into the season, right? Because truly, it is still completely up for grabs. All right, guys, thanks. It is the perfect day to visit. Joined now by 2 legendary quarterbacks, Peyton and Eli Manning, who, by the way, are playing at the Nationwide Invitational Pro-Am ahead of the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide. Guys, so great to have you here. I can see the course behind you. How'd you do on the links today, though, Peyton?
Well, as you can tell, it's raining here in Columbus, which makes the rough a little thicker, right? The rough's not easy for us amateurs anyway, but it is especially thick here in Columbus. Thank you, Mr. Jack Nicklaus. And when you're pro, Tony Finau, who I play with, says this rough is really thick, then I can promise you it's not where I should be. So it was a struggle out there, but great to be here on behalf of Nationwide. This tournament raises a lot of money for Nationwide Children's Hospital, which is a great beneficiary, and great to be with Eli. Larry Fitzgerald's here as well, a couple of former Nationwide Men of the Year, so it's been a lot of fun.
I love that you brought up Larry Fitzgerald because, Eli, I was just on your Twitter feed, and I saw that very nice photo of the 3 of you yesterday and how you said the guy with the tightest pants won all the money. Of course, Larry made sure to bite back a little bit there, saying having the tightest pants with you guys is not a high bar to clear. Definitely look less gloomy out there. I think you guys look great, sporting all of the golf gear. Is there a proper fit for golf pants? I'm just very curious, Eli.
Yeah, I mean, I think any pants Larry wears are pretty tight. He's got a lot of glute work he's been doing, these past couple of years. So I'm just jealous. I'm jealous. It shows in his golf swing also because he absolutely destroys a golf ball. But we came in yesterday and got to get a little extra golf in and around, so the three of us played, which doesn't happen that often, to get to play with Peyton, get to play with Larry, who I've known for 20 years now, and got to compete against so long. So to get that a little golf in before coming here today and playing at the Nationwide Pro-Am, and get to see how golf is really supposed to be played with these pros. They the way they hit it, I'm thinking about quitting golf right now. It's so impressive.
Fantastic. By the way, that picture has to go in a frame with the Twitter caption and all. But a very busy summer for sure for you guys. Peyton, in particular, how's the preparation for the Hall of Fame ceremony coming up in August?
Well, very honored, very humbled, looking forward to having a crowded football ceremony game in August right nearby here in Canton, Ohio. So excited to kind of get the NFL season going, and this is going to be kind of the beginning of it. And honored to be going in on the same weekend as one of my old teammates, Adrian James, and kind of rejoining Marvin Harrison and Tony Dungy and Bill Polian, kind of the architect of the Colts. So I'm excited. It's been a lot of fun thinking about all the people and the family support and friend support, teammate support that I've had throughout my football career, and it's been kind of fun these past couple of months, sort of going down memory lane.
Oh, I can only imagine. One of the events, of course, the Hall of Fame every year. We get goosebumps just as we think about it. Eli, you mentioned that perhaps your golf career might be coming to an end there. Anything else that you've picked up since retiring from the NFL?
Yeah, I've picked up a lot of activity. It started off teaching a little third grade math right when the pandemic hit, and coaching 3 girls basketball teams, ages 9, 7, and 5. All kind of create their own challenges. The 5-year-old just getting the ball to the hoop is really hard, and the 9-year-old just getting them to kind of pay attention. Many times, kind of drawing up plays, telling everybody where to go. All of a sudden, the hand gets raised, and they're like, "What color jersey are we wearing tomorrow?" I'm like, "All right, so did y'all hear anything I just said?"
It's critical information.
It's critical, but again, they didn't. I don't think they heard a word of the play I wanted to get run. But just a lot of fun doing some of those things, and getting to finally, now that things are opening up, getting to travel around a little bit and play some golf and see my brother and see my parents a little bit. So. Just trying to figure out the next steps and what I want to do going forward.
Let's talk about the season ahead, and of course the biggest headline thus far, everyone talking about Aaron Rodgers. Peyton, you switched teams later in your career. Eli, of course, you stayed with the Giants. I imagine there were times, of course, where you were unhappy with front office decisions, but what do you make of the Rodgers situation, Peyton?
Yeah, I don't make a lot of it, I guess, because nothing's really happened, and I know it's a lot of speculation about it. Obviously Denver was kind of one of the teams that kind of came up during the draft. I kind of felt bad for all these kids getting drafted because that's all they talked about was the potential trade and not these guys that were kind of getting ready to start their careers. All right, you're going to have to translate now because my mic is completely falling out.
These golfers have small ears or something. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I should probably ask you. You guys have all the insight there at NFL Network, so I'm kind of out of the loop. What a great player Aaron is, and what a great career he's had there in Green Bay, and we'll kind of see how it all plays out. Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just patch you guys into our next production call. Don't worry about it. Not a problem there for us. Let's go to now the reigning Super Bowl champion, Tom Brady, heading to Foxborough this season. Peyton, you went up against the Colts in 2013 in your first year as a Bronco. Any advice to Brady about what that experience is going to be like going up against his former team?
Any advice to Brady about him going against his former team this next year?
Very good. What is this?
The translator. Yeah.
No, I don't think Tom needs any advice. It's unique experience, individual experience. Obviously, they'll be focused and trying to win the game. Both teams will. So it's one of those things that you never really think you're going to have a chance to experience. But I think once you get out there and kind of get through the pregame and kind of complete your first pass and realize you're out there playing a game, I think everything will kind of calm down for them.
Eli, thanks for the assist there. Multi-hyphenate, Super Bowl winner, and helping us produce this entire segment here. But what do you think will be the hardest thing for Brady to get ring number 8?
It's just been impressive what he's been able to do over the course of his career, especially, just last year, changing teams during a pandemic, new coaches, new system, new players, everything. And for him to just kind of go through that season and there's definitely some ups and downs and a learning curve, but he just stuck with it and persevered and, was playing great throughout the playoffs. Their defense was playing great. So, it seems like they have signed back a lot of those players. It's just a matter of everybody coming back together again, staying hungry, staying committed. I don't think you have to worry about that with Tom. He's proven that year in and year out, that his commitment and his desire and his competitiveness, but just everybody as a group, just keeping that same drive that they have last year and to go do it again. It is hard to repeat. You don't see that happening a whole lot in the NFL just because of the challenges and the great teams that are out there.
No question about that. Now, I want to get to the tournament again here because Nationwide sponsors both the Memorial Tournament and the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award. Eli, why was it so important to you both to partner with them?
Well, obviously, I think what Nationwide does and the fact that they were a part of the Walter Payton Man of the Year, which, Payton won. And then I won years later, split that with Larry Fitzgerald, who is one of my great friends. So it was an honor to split that with him. But you just see the great work that Nationwide does, and especially their involvement with children's hospitals, which Peyton and I have been involved with our own children's hospitals in Indianapolis, mine in Mississippi and New Jersey. And so it's just a great partnership. Just both had a strong focus and desire to help people and help kids that are in need. And we just feel, kids should be, life should be easy for them. They should be outside. They should be going to school. They should be with their friends. They shouldn't be in a hospital. But if they are, you want them to get the best treatment, to get them healthy, get them back home, to being a child again and living life easily. And so I think that's Nationwide's hope, and to team up with them and to be here for this tournament and support their work that they're doing that goes towards the Children's Hospital here. It's just, want to help out in any way possible. So it's been a great partnership and just an honor to be associated with them.
Gotta love a visit with the Mannings. Without a doubt, the most successful brothers in the history of the NFL.